we're obviously in the midst of pretty dramatic times in Greece. I want to ask you, which of you in the audience think that if we were here in 1 year's time in this room, that Greece would still be in the Eurozone? If you think that Greece, let's start. Those of you who think that in 1 year's time Greece will not be in the Eurozone, please put up your hands. There's one person over there, I think, very tentatively put his hand up. Those of you who think that, that Greece will be in the Eurozone in 1 year's time, please put your hands up. Yep. Okay, we all hope you are. I think everyone hopes. Okay, so most of you do think that Greece will be in the Eurozone. Some of you are a little unsure. Which of you think that somewhere in the vaults of the Central Bank of Greece there is an emergency plan for restoring the Greek currency, just in case it happens? Which of you think that the Central Bank of Greece has an emergency plan, whatever they say? Put your hands up if you think there is a plan somewhere.
There's one.
You're just what, right.
Yeah, that's from Kepe.
Right, yeah, indeed. And which of you think the Central Bank has no plan at all? It's not prepared, not even preparing for Greece to come out of the euro. So again, most of you think that Greece will stay in the euro system and that the central bank doesn't have an emergency plan. Well, let's hope you are right. Let's start with our panelists. I'm just going to ask, before I go into some detailed questions on the banking system and what all of this means, I just want to ask each of you to reflect what the referendum announcement means for Greece. Perhaps we'll start with you, Nicholas.
Thank you. It's a very difficult question because
all the best questions are difficult.
We haven't decided so far what is going to be the final measures.
Yep.
A few months ago, we have a program that the Greek banks has already prepared. They have announced in the financial statement the losses, or they have put down how much capital they need more. What I said is, in the first program, we have specific details about how the program has to be implemented. So in I suppose half of 2011, the banks, the second quarter, has already implemented, has already took the losses or the write-downs of the government bonds they had in their portfolios, and they have written down how much is actually the losses. Mm-hmm. So in the second program that's been announced 2 weeks ago, and I suppose nobody knows what is going to be the final stage. Obviously, the banks right now, they need much more capital aside in order to hedge these losses from writing down 50%, as everybody knows, from these government bonds. But it's not only the 50% of the bonds, the government bonds they kept. It's also other things that they have to be reconsidered.
Because before you go on to that, because I'm going to ask you specifically about what the plan means. Let's assume the plan goes ahead. I want to just talk about the uncertainty caused by the referendum, which you've talked about. Well, John, what about the referendum decision? Will it lead to paralysis?
I think it's not a fair question to the people. Number one, we don't know the specifics of the program.
Correct.
And when we don't know the specifics of the program, primarily we don't know where the money is coming from. Show me the money, and then I will tell you whether or not I want the money. So if I don't know the terms and conditions of the money, how can I vote on? The second uncertainty...
Well, hopefully by January, if it is January, hopefully they'll have worked the details.
We just heard that the referendum will take place in December.
Right.
If we don't know where the money is coming from, the terms and conditions of the money, how can the people vote? Mm-hmm. The second uncertainty is, are the people well informed to make a judgment call on the referendum. And the third major problem is all the solutions that have been proposed, especially since July 21st, eventually they put Greece into more and more debt. And eventually that becomes a trap from which Greece will never come out. I think that the ultimate solution to the problem, and I believe that Chairman Volcker from the United States had proposed it very well, is to have a sysachthia, a jubilee on the interest payments on the debt. Because if you have a jubilee on the interest rate on the debt, Greece will save $20 billion every year.
Just to get it clear, a jubilee means a moratorium.
Absolutely, no interest. Every payment is going against the principal. So Greece will get out of debt in 10 years and have a debt to GDP ratio of 0 without selling the assets.
Sorry for that. That's a good idea. As a mathematician, more than a finance person, I can understand the numbers. But do you think it's, at the moment, can be accepted that proposition proposed from the other countries in Europe?
It's much better because...
It's much better,
French
but
banks,
sometimes...
but can they afford it?
But second question, if they can afford it. The banks right now, they are struggling to keep this program, and they are not sure if the 50% are good enough for them to go on.
They will get 100% of their money back.
How?
Because every payment that the Greek government will be making will go against to pay off the debt. So the principal will be paid 100%. There will be absolutely no credit event, no even question about CDSs. The Greece will keep the assets, and Greece eventually in 10 years will have a debt to GDP ratio of 0. Debt-free, completely debt-free. The only country in the European Union will have 0 debt.
How do you sell that to Italian and French taxpayers?
What about the financial markets? Are they going to accept this plan?
Right now they have already accepted a haircut of 50%.
Yeah, but because they don't lose everything. And at the moment
they lose 50%.
But not everything.
Okay, how much are they going to lose with a jubilee on the interest?
I'm talking about two different things, the economy and the banking system.
How much are they going to lose with a jubilee on the interest? 0.
If they find the money to refinancing the debt, the losses, they have to find somehow the bank itself.
What losses?
If you
the lost revenue, presumed the lost interest stream.
The lost interest?
Yeah.
That's a net interest margin. This is a very operating,
I think it's much easier to digest losing the interest than losing the principal.
That's something that I don't...
And does it really, have you really run the figures? Does it really have that dramatic effect on...
Absolutely. I have run the figures. We have run the figures. The numbers work.
Yeah, interesting. We could talk about this. We need the figures. We need to sit round a computer screen with the figures, I think. Andrea?
Yes, well, I'm not an expert in the signed plan to rescue or save Greece, but I think that the referendum call is it's probably a logical process that is happening in Europe in the last 2 years, where skepticals about Eurozone are growing. Many people and political parties are thinking about what the value of being in the Eurozone. And the fact that we have the euros is not really a unique currency. It's made of different currencies, like the Dutch mark and euros, and then the lira and euros, and the drachma and the euros. Again, we are still in this situation, and I think that all this debate of how to rescue, how to get out from this crisis, it's a demonstration that we do not have really a unique ideas on how to run the Eurozone. And I think that a referendum call it's a natural and logical effect of this. If nobody help us to get out from this situation without giving us growth, and I'm talking about as a Greek perspective, if we don't have growth in the long term, I need to rely to the people that put myself on as a prime minister, which is the people on the street. I'm not saying it's correct, but it's a logical effect that people are not believing anymore in a Eurozone as a balancing of the power of the single state. That's my point.
Can you give the Italian perspective, given you know, where you're coming? What's the Italian perspective on what's happened in Greece in the last couple of days?
I think that, as happening in some other countries in Europe, we probably know that we have to do something to get out from this situation. I'm talking about specifically on the Italian market, but it could be the same for the Irish market or for Portugal. But I think that one of the party line in this moment, in the last, again, 24 months, is the lack of responsibility by the political parties. There is no single voice in each of the countries. Everyone is fighting for the polls, for the new election. So there's no one who take really the lead within the specific market. And that is happening in Italy. Again, we have a coalition, but on the other end, the opposition doesn't want to say what they want to do. So we are in like a situation where we know what we have to do probably, but we are not getting there. That's the issue at the moment.
Nikos, I don't want to get your official association's view on the referendum, but do you think that the uncertainty caused by the referendum will harm the underlying economy? Will harm efforts to get the underlying economy going again?
Η ανακοίνωση μάλλον του δημοψηφίσματος ήταν μια μη αναμενόμενη κίνηση. Και σαν μη αναμενόμενη κίνηση έχει παρενέργειες οι οποίες έχουν εμφανιστεί ήδη στην οικονομία και στο τραπεζικό σύστημα, με την έννοια ότι οι καταθέτες βρίσκονται πάλι σε μια περίοδο μη εμπιστοσύνης. Και αυτό είναι κακό. Το δημοψήφισμα από μόνο του δεν μπορεί να λύσει ένα σύνθετο πρόβλημα όπως είναι η σχέση, η απόφαση της Συνόδου Κορυφής. Με την έννοια αυτή φοβάμαι ότι από μόνο το δημοψήφισμα δεν προσφέρει λύσεις σε αυτό που επιδιώκει και ο ελληνικός λαός και το τραπεζικό σύστημα. Απ' την άλλη πρέπει να μετρήσουμε και τις αντιδράσεις των παραγόντων της Ευρωζώνης και ιδιαίτερα Μέρκελ, Σαρκοζή, όπου οι πρώτες τουλάχιστον εκτιμήσεις είναι ότι αυτή η απόφαση δεν έρχεται σε σύγκρουση και αμφισβητεί ή προσπαθεί, ας πούμε βαριά λέξη, να υπονομεύσει την απόφαση που πάρθηκε πρόσφατα. Με την έννοια αυτή είμαι ακόμα πολύ σκεπτικός, έχω έντονο προβληματισμό, περιμένω να δω περισσότερες λεπτομέρειες, απλά εκφράζω κάποιες βασικές σκέψεις.
It's interesting that you say that the referendum decision was expected, whereas, of course, in the rest of Europe, it seems a complete surprise. So I think that's a very vivid demonstration, even in a world of 24-hour news, the internet. You always think you can find out something about a country just by switching on the internet or switching on the news. There's no substitute for coming to a country and talking to people and understanding much better what the people actually feel. And then just in 24 hours in Athens, I have found that myself. Nicholas, let's leave the referendum aside. Let's assume that the deal that's just agreed goes through. As you say, there are still many details. As both of you said, there are many details to still be finalized. But roughly speaking, what might this 50% write-down and the move to a 9% minimum Tier 1 capital requirement, can Greek banks take it?
It's another difficult question, and I'm going to try to avoid to answer.
Okay.
Although, we have to see the whole thing. It is the write-off of the government bonds, 50%. How much about 55 billion euro, the amount they kept in the whole banking system? Half of it is about 20 to 23%. Let's say 21, because some of the private owner, they are not going to get into that. Fine. So we need about 21 million to actually put again into the system. There's not only the government bonds, it's also the NPLs, sorry, the non-performing loans that they are not as good as they should be. Obviously, under this recession, the numbers that I have in front of me, which is about 13% NPLs, sound good, if they are all of them included in that number.
Can you trust the figures?
I can trust my research, and I think if we take into account refinancing loans, we take into account construction loans, the change of the construction loan, they have changed the terms, that could be more. But this is normal. Banks, they have to go through these changes.
You think some borrowers are being kept alive artificially?
Yes, they have to. This is normal. Yeah. It's nothing illegal.
It's not just Greek, no.
It's not illegal. In a deep recession we are going right now, if banks leave more people to get into the bad loans, to the red loans they call it, NPLs, they will have problem both of the sides. They have the bank's problem and the other side, which is us, and at the prices. What's my point? My point is we have this write-off, or these expected losses if things go in okay. We have the BlackRock. The BlackRock has to give a report that has to be 90% right and not hidden. You know, the details, the devil is kept in details.
Exactly.
Small details, very small. You cannot read it. Although, my point is, banks have to face three different issues. Government bonds, BlackRock, they know already what their problem is. But if they've been announced, they have to take some precaution of it. They have to take action. And third, you said about the 9% capital adequacy. Before the PCI program, the first one, the banks, they have about 9%. They had already taken measure and they have increased the capital adequacy ratio. They have two different capital adequacy ratios. I don't want to confuse the people here. There's the general capital adequacy with all the capital they have, good capitals and not very good capital, including hybrid, subordinated, you know. And they have also the core tier one. It's actually share. It's the real cash. It's the real money. So they had already, before the PCI, about 9%. After the PCI, the first one, they had almost 8 point something. So they are almost about to get rid of this problem. And the Central Bank of Greece, they had already asked them, by the 1st of January 2012, they have to keep into their account, correct me if I'm wrong, about 10% minimum. So they knew in advance. The point is, where's the money?
Well,
the money, I don't think the main shareholder, the owner of the banks and the main shareholder, they will put as much money they need the system. Secondly, the government doesn't have the money to substitute. There is also a safety net. There's a safety net, which is the Hellenic HSFS, the Hellenic Financial Stability Fund. Is actually, they have already agreed for 10 billion, and they are going up to 30 if the thing's going right. So there is a safety net. But the point is, who is going to be the owner of the banks?
Well, let's talk about that question in a second, because that's an important question. Unfortunately, the way that the banks have got to that 9% or nearly to that 9% is by shrinking their balance sheets.
They don't have as far.
Not
they need to
lending
go up
to Greek citizens or companies.
But that's not the problem. The 9%.
No, what I'm saying is that the way they've got to 9% is not by building, by not lending to the real Greek economy. People out here who want to borrow to grow their businesses or their
But they
homes.
cannot lend.
Yeah.
They don't have the money to lend.
No.
They don't have the capital to
lend. No, exactly. John?
I think that if the agreement of October 26 is implemented, the Greek banks would need a lot of capital, not just $30 billion, 30 billion euros, to be recapitalized. It could be double that amount. Whether or not the 9% capital ratio would be sufficient, I think capital ratio of roughly 10% should be sufficient. Again, we don't know where the money is coming from to recapitalize the Greek banks. We don't know how many non-performing loans are there. Even if BlackRock, gives us the report, there could still be some questions because I don't know how well they will examine all the books. At the same time, I believe that the depression that the Greek economy is headed towards will eventually bankrupt many medium to small businesses. Therefore, we have not counted yet for the domino effect of all the bad loans that are supposed to come in the next few years. So unless this bleeding stops in the next 6 months, the Greek banks will really be in trouble. And therefore, either they need to be acquired by foreign banks, or they need to be consolidated. But again, if they get consolidated, then you may create a monster.
Well, let's talk about. I want to ask about what the future, what that looks at. But I'm just asking the effects here, and then we'll talk about what the solution may be with some problems, as you pointed out. But perhaps, Andrea, if we could come to you, and will you be doing more restructuring work on Greek banks? Because of this solution?
I would not say I hope to, but I got the point about where this money comes from. I think this is a good statement, but on the other end, evidences. Let me always be surprised about how this capital increase went, and it's incredible. In Greece, 8 months ago, one of the top banks in Greece raised money, and the capital increase was completely oversubscribed. Another one was not that big, but 4 months ago, when we are in the middle of the crisis, Italian banks raised 5 billion euros in 15 days. There was no problem.
Because Mr. Draghi made sure they did.
Yeah, absolutely. But the point is, we have concern that there is no money outside, but on the other end, when someone called money, they get 5 billion in 15 days. And that is it's not the major shareholders. They do their role, they did their role, but on the other end, there are 40% from the market and retail and whatever. So in my opinion, I think that there will be a lot of capital increases and surely restructuring. But the point is that I think that there is a discrepancy between what the market, what the financial community thinks about Greece. There is one thought about the state and the trust that the financial community have over the state, rather than the trust they have over the companies, the listed companies, the banks. In the last 12 months, there was a change in Greece, which is what the record date. Record date means that investors can vote at a general meeting more easily. But even though there was a huge jump in the participation of listed companies' general meeting this year, approximately we are around 50, 70, 80% more than last year. Still, the composition of the shareholders base of listed companies has not changed very much. So that means that there is a trust in the companies. There is still a trust in the companies. The problem now, there's no trust in the state. And that is something which I think that Greece should address, and listed companies in Greece should address.